revealed that Protzman's interaction with cults dated as far back as 2008, when during the financial collapse, he had begun researching about investing in silver. Apparently, platforms that push investments such as silver, at least back then, relied on doomsday stories to convince people. Faced with family issues and an uncertain financial future, he began leaning into the conspiracy theories, and soon enough, he was fully in. He even tried to convince his mother to cash in her 401k and buy silver. Further along, he was sucked into other conspiracies, and eventually he was just isolated. Then he bumped into Telegram. Since Twitter and Facebook were heavy on cracking down against conspiracy theorists following the January 6th Capitol attack, he effortlessly built an audience after finding people who validated what he believed. So yeah, that's how the whole thing started. From there, the audience grew and eventually became large enough to the point where they showed up to Dallas, Texas. As to what's going on with the group, well, Protzman actually died in July of 2023. It was reported that he lost control of a dirt bike at Meadow Valley Motocross in Millville, Minnesota, and suffered multiple blunt force injuries that he succumbed to. Second, even after his death, the group remained committed to his prophecy that the Kennedys would come back. And lastly, rather unbelievably, his successor, according to Vice, is a 13-year-old known online as Tiny Teflon. This girl was apparently a protege of Protzman, which he allegedly groomed. Her mission? Well, her duty was to recruit kids to the cult. Shoko Asahara's Aum Shinrikyo. Alright, so I've already brought up Aum Shinrikyo in this video, and that word, Shinrikyo, is hard for me to pronounce, but I'm still gonna try Shinrikyo. That's how I say it, and that's how I'm gonna continue to say it for this story. So let's start at the beginning. The morning of March 20th, 1995 in Tokyo, Japan. This was a day that Japan saw one of the deadliest domestic terror attacks carried out by what was termed an obscure group that probably most people had never heard of before. In 5 coordinated attacks across 3 commuter trains, members of this group, later unmasked as Aum Shinrikyo, had left 5 bags filled with liquid nerve agent in the trains in what they believed was a way to spark the apocalypse that would then precede the end times they had been waiting for. Now, you have to understand that Japan's subway is one of the busiest in the world, and so there were bound to be casualties all over the place. That day, passengers had gone about their mornings as usual, but then while inside the trains, they got met with stinging fumes that within seconds had led to choking, vomiting, blindness, and even paralysis. 13 people died from the attack, while 5,800 others were injured. This cult, called Aum in short, was quite predisposed to murder and violence, seemingly stopping at nothing to achieve their goals. For instance, just months after the attack I've described, they tried severely to release hydrogen cyanide in different stations, but without success. Before that, in 1989, they had killed Susumi Sakamoto, a lawyer who was working on a class action case against them. They killed his wife and child too. Also, sometime before that 1995 attack, they had driven a truck full of sarin gas around an apartment in Nagano, Japan, slowly releasing it and killing 7 people in the process while injuring 500 others. Also, not to forget, as I had mentioned in the first case, they had tried to assassinate another cult leader, Takashi Nakagawa of Happy Science, after Asahara had already made fun of Okawa's superficial knowledge of Buddhism. They've also been linked to the Mahikari cult, having used Shimada Yasuko, who would help Mahikari to buy a vast farm in Western Australia where they ran some unsanctioned scientific experiments. So overall, it was a pretty chaotic cult. Now, in terms of origins, the group is said to have begun back in the 1980s, started by Shoko Asahara, a self-professed Christ who also called himself the first enlightened one since Buddha. Their core beliefs were a mix of Hinduism, Buddhism, and apocalyptic Christianity. And although preaching against materialism, it turns out that material wealth and elitism were at the very center of their operation from the start. For instance, an ex-follower once explained that members would pay for Asahara's bathwater and hair. For $300, one could get about 1 ounce of bathwater. Yeah, he was on his Belle Delphine stuff right there. And even more bizarre, there was an instance in 1988 where a member paid $8,100 for blood initiation, where it's alleged that they drank Asahara's blood. This was seemingly a common thing, as the blood was said to give members more enlightenment. I've also mentioned that they were elitist because, as reported by BBC, many of Aum's followers were students from elite universities who the cult promised more meaningful lives away from the academically pressured lives that they were living. Based on this, one can speculate that recruiting smart people might have something to do with their preference for chemical and biological agents as tools for attack. That could also be backed up by the fact that in Western Australia, they had part of their experiments had included attempts to make nuclear weapons by mining uranium and testing nerve agents on sheep, among other similar stuff. Anyway, for their crimes, in 2006, Asahara received a death sentence alongside some of the other key followers. The case dragged on for an entire 12 years, and it wasn't until July 2018 that he and 9 of his members got executed. It is, however, suspected that the group still exists, classified as a terrorist organization under the name Aleph, and that's spelled Aleph. All right, guys, that was it for this video. If you guys enjoyed how I narrated the story, make sure to leave a like. And if you aren't subscribed, I hope I earned your subscription. Damn, I didn't say at the beginning. I should have said at the beginning. That's my intro. Damn. Whatever. I hope I earned your subscription. And if I didn't, maybe it's gonna take more videos. And luckily for you, I upload weekly, or at least I try to. Anyway, that's it for this video. Stream honey, and I'll see you guys next time I upload.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to today's channel. So today we will be discussing the subreddit of Bad Women's Anatomy, because we always have to come... There was a hair in my mouth. It is a needle in a haystack. I hope you enjoy this, because for some reason you all love misogyny. Are you misogynists? What's wrong with you guys exactly? By the way, if you don't know, me and my girlfriend run a podcast called Outspoken, where we talk about subjects literally like this, just in a longer format, and you can subscribe to it on YouTube or anywhere you get your podcasts. Now, if you've never heard of the subreddit before, it is just people who don't understand how women work, and I'm gonna just look at this, okay? This post is titled "Good Old Facebook and Uneducated People." Someone on my friends list shared this, so I had to peep at the comments, exactly what I expected to see. The new "I'm ready to settle down" sandwich, only at Arby's, and it's a giant roast beef sandwich, because that's how it works. 10,000 likes, by the way, and the comments follow, "Damn, that's thorough." And someone replied and said, "Having a curtain has nothing to do with being blown out, lol." Another person said, "That's 4 kids, 4 different daddies ready to settle down." 10 kids, 11 baby daddy, and 1 I was drunk brother. Yeah, yep. It just blows my mind how many dudes think that the way that a woman looks down there is determined by how many men she has slept with. So if she sleeps with the same man 100 times, will it stay? Like, will it stay looking the same? Or is it just when it's different guys? Because they always mention 10 different daddies. Next one says, "Memory foam." No. I guess this answers our question here, actually. The men do not change, no matter how many women they sleep with, unless it falls off because of an STD, you know, because that happens. It just falls right off. If a woman only sleeps with 2 guys, it will only stretch to the largest and get used to that. If a woman is sleeping with 500 different guys, it doesn't get used to the size and tires from stretching. That is on the money. He is on the money about all of it. He must have had so many sex ed classes. Someone goes, "Unless it falls off from an STD." That's actually that's what happened to me. That's why I had to become transgender. Vaginas have been upgraded from peeing to pooping. I really don't like the word pooping. I might bleep it out. I'm sorry. I don't like it. Say shitting. I wish we had context, dude, because what if they poop in it? Women can't differentiate what's coming when they start pushing. As far as I know, only men have it separated. Does he think like it's just one, that they're not separate, like the ass and the vajay? It's just one. So when they go and they sit in the toilet, they're like, "Oh no, I don't know what's gonna come out today. Is it pee or shit?" A commenter said, "Cloacas for everybody." Women have cloacas, actually, if you guys didn't know that. I hope that taught you a lesson here. This just might be your Prince Charming. So ladies, really listen up, okay? Titled "Just Make a Hole." It's a conversation. The girl goes, "That doesn't sound very helpful. I'll stick it in your mouth." And, "You're going to stick your probe in my clit." Yeah, you can't stick anything in a clit. It's not a hole. Why? It's not a hole? I'll make one. You're going to make a hole in my clit. Yeah. Do you know what a clit is? That's the end. That's all that we were given. If this isn't the definition of men don't know what a clit is, then I don't know what is. That sounds like a threat. I'll make one. He probably thought that he was so like sexy when he was saying this, like, you know, like it's just so big. Like, I'll make one. I'll make a hole in it. All right, for this next post, this dude goes, "Women are not the creators of life. They are just the bearers. Men create the life. Women just have an egg inside of them. That egg means nothing without the living sperm that breeds the egg. Y'all need to effing take a health class." I don't know why I didn't say fucking. Fuck. Sperm doesn't mean shit without the egg, though. I'm not sure what this dude's on. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure the woman is more important, but also I'm a feminist, so I could just be biased in saying that. I'm a feminist, so please pick me. Sorry, if you see these little things in my ears, I just put them in. They just reduce sounds that I can hear, because when I film it, I don't have to explain it. I'm just super sensitive to sounds, and This says, "Clueless man's response to, I helped my little sister figure out tampons." This was on Reddit, I guess. And dude says, "Tampons cause endometriosis. So in reality, she doomed her sister to an early hysterectomy." How do you even come to the conclusion of that anyways? I've never heard this in my life. That's not how women work. I'll actually have you know, according to WHO, the cause of endometriosis is unknown. So there. Oh God. Okay, this next one, titled "Ladies, Don't Worry, I Have a Degree in Theology." So there's a photo and it has a title on it, and I'm gonna blur the photo because it's sexual. It's a dude going down on a girl, okay? And it says, speaking on behalf of all ladies, men, we don't like this. So this dude replies and he goes, this picture has been making the rounds. Let me just say, for all men who don't know better, no woman has ever enjoyed this. I've tried it many times and every single woman gets bored of it very quickly. It's a porn thing, nothing more. Men, don't waste your time. No, it is not a porn thing. You just have no idea what you're doing. You know what? I'm not going to say it. This has obviously been a meme for women forever. Like, oh, men don't know how to do that. Men are so bad at that and blah, 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 blah. So I am going to say it. Those words have never been said to me or behind my back or anything like that. At least to my knowledge. Anyways, somebody said, dude's probably eating it with the same level of enthusiasm like he's being forced to finish his broccoli to get the dessert and then wonder why women are bored. Yeah, if your woman's bored while you're doing that, man, you are bad. I don't even want to know what the sex part is. Like, okay. Anyways, the next one says, I thought you guys would like to have this for your own use. And it is just a post. This picture just dry rubbed my left labia lip and then asked if I came. And it's just a bunch of dudes. And the outfits are, they're bad. They're bad outfits. I think I've heard every single one of my women friends, because this is all we talk about. Because I'm one of the girls, okay? Say that they've literally experienced that. I mean, and then they'll be like, and I try to move it, but then it doesn't work out. It is not that hard. I'm at a loss. Just figure it out. Just look at it and figure it out. Found in the wild of my Instagram reels. Stop shaving your vulva, and this is the photo. I guess everybody is a female now, according to biology. At ass crack equals vulva. Here we go, we have a meme. It's called When Boobs Are Genitals. God damn, my boobs decided to start hurting. That's a woman thing? Of course it's a thing. Everyone's genitals just randomly hurt at random times, right? Don't tell me that doesn't happen to men. Yeah, that's not a thing that happens to guys. This gender sucks. Is this satire? I don't know, man. I don't know if this is satirical. Somebody goes, I pee out of my tit. Yeah. What do you guys do? Do you shit out of your tit? Do you shit out of your tit? Because I think that would be pretty rad. You could just do it down the freeway. Someone pisses you off, just pop one out. That's gross. I'm sorry. This next one says, I'm sick of this myth. How would it even be possible? I guess that this is a conversation between people on YouTube, and someone says, sync up, they're robots now. Somebody else said, periods sync when women spend enough time together. Other person replied, laugh my ass off, no they don't. You must be either a kid or be incredibly uninformed. You are the one being uninformed. I'm a grown woman. We don't sync up. It's a myth. A cycle is 28 days normally. There are bound to be overlaps, especially when many women are present, but never a sync. It's incredibly stupid and biologically impossible, not to mention unpractical. Look up studies instead of believing old hag tales. I mean, someone commented and said, I knew it was bullshit pretty early on, but that's because I have 5 sisters. We never synced up for more than a cycle or so at a time, and never all of us at once. So that's actually a fact that I learned myself. So I've learned something new here today, because girls actually always did say that stuff. This says, how do women give urine samples? I was at the hospital with my mother. The radiology tech came to get her, but she had to pee. He said it was fine, and she told him she was going to need a urine sample. He went and grabbed a collection cup and then asked, can women use this? I was kind of speechless. I said, yeah, why wouldn't they? He answered, I don't know if they need special apparatus. I was totally speechless then. He's medical personnel. How could he think this way? Perhaps he's never seen a vulva. And some of the comments in this kind of threw me off. They were kind of like, well, he's not really blah, blah, blah. But it's like, how do you think a woman pees in a toilet? Do you think it just kind of just like goes everywhere? Like a hose on that setting where it just like goes everywhere? I mean, he's in radiology, but still, man definitely knows that pee comes out of the vagina. We don't have context, but this night hurt to hear. Did you know that pee comes out of a vagina? It also discharges. A penis also transports urine and other stuff. Risk/reward is why people don't care. Good hygiene is important and effective. A beehole has a bunch of nerve endings. If it's cleaned, it doesn't look or taste like it has poop anywhere near it. Someone replied and said, pee doesn't come out of our vaginas. Why are there multiple comments saying pee comes out of vaginas? Is female anatomy that mysterious? Both sexes actually have something called a urethra, and that's how you pee. I can't believe you know what? I can't believe people this stupid exist on this planet. Females bleed for 6 months and smell like fish after giving birth. Always the dudes who say females. They're the experts. If you use the term female, anything you say is invalid unless it's like some biological scientific shit. I hate you and you're probably stupid and dressed like shit. Don't after a female have a baby, she has period for like 6 months straight. Maine, that's a long time to be smelling like fish. See? I know a little something about women. Why does this have 25 likes? Oh, wait, can we see his profile picture? Oh yeah, oh dude definitely knows it's a little something about women. You know a little something about grammar and spelling and all that great shit too, don't you? Somebody commented and said, up to 6 weeks, and while yes, it has a distinct scent, it's not fish. If you have a fish smell, see a doctor or nurse, as it may be infection that needs treatment. No shaming needed. He really knows nothing and is one of the ones who have made the word female into a derogatory term. Also, they don't have their period for 6 months after. It's just like an afterbirth thing that happens. Just seen this on Am I the Asshole? Sigh. This person said, am I the asshole for getting upset that my husband told me that my vagina got looser? My 29, husband 31, and I had sex last night for the first time in a couple of months due to busy work schedules and school. Then this morning I noticed he's acting a little off and distant, but denies anything is wrong. Tonight he told me that he was upset because my vagina felt looser when he was fingering me and he thought I was cheating on him. This irked me because it basically felt like he was calling me loose, and he said it's just because I'm normally super tight. It also made me upset because I'm always either at home or at work, and we have similar work schedules, which then he said that I'm home alone on my days off. Like seriously, I've never cheated on this man and never would, so this just threw me off. We even share locations, and I give him my phone passcode when he borrows it to look at things sometimes. I got offended and he wanted to make amends and start hugging me, but I was already hurt, so now we're not talking. Am I the asshole? No, you're not the asshole, and you need to break up immediately. Break up immediately. This is the man. If this is a 31-year-old man who doesn't know how a vagina works, you head straight go to hell. Buy a minute vagina book. I don't know. You guys already know this, but when a woman is comfortable, it opens up a little bit because you're about to have sex. That's how it works. It's not rocket science. Oh, fucking Jesus Christ. Someone said, I suspect she's normally super tight because he doesn't do any foreplay and she's not turned on. Somebody replies and goes, I made my wife horny. She must have been cheating. Yeah, sums up a bunch of dudes that you shouldn't be dating. I can't do it anymore. This says, because menstrual cycles stop at the first child. Someone posted this on Twitter and said, so he's 10 years old and his mom is still menstruating? What? Did she have him when she was 15? Okay, so when you have kid, periods stop. I don't even know what this is a comment on, but on a post about discharge during sex. I think the context of this, maybe some dude posted about having sex and was like, oh, like what is this different colored stuff? And someone said, could be leftover from another man. Someone replies and says, there's a serious lack of intelligence in this thread. And he replied and he said, why? Could be true though, the way he describes it. And the person replied, that's not how women's bodies work. Vaginas are self-cleaning. Unless she had sex immediately before having sex with him, that's impossible. You know, I don't have very much faith in humanity. And now I specifically just don't have faith in humanity after seeing post after post after post like this. Brain is rotted. I'm on my last cell. Good thing we're on our last post. It's titled BRB While I Wash My Uterus. Calm down, Temu. Great app to buy from. Hope you're not buying from it. Are you buying from it? So I guess this is an ad. It says hot pink portable travel bidet, body and private parts washer tool, feminine care, perennial wash bottle. And it shows it going all the way up, literally into, what the hell? Like the cervix and uterus area? Yeah, because that is something that women should be doing on the daily. You know, you should be bringing this traveling, you know, on the airplane. Maybe you want to take a quick little uterus wash. I'm not really sure. I mean, I could see how it would be a great to-go bidet, sort of, but not really, because, like, also, I don't know. That just seems like it might be a little bit too dirty to indulge in. Anyways, that wraps it up for us today on Bad Women's Anatomy. Hope you learned a thing or two. And don't forget, I do run a podcast with my girlfriend. Again, it's called Outspoken. Links will be in the description. All you have to do is type in Outspoken Sam Collins. It'll come up wherever you listen to your podcast. We have a channel. We're almost at 100K, so we're gonna get that plaque. Yeah, I will see all you next week with a new video that you will hate. Bye.
music industry, I knew the drill. If they didn't want to bang you, they weren't interested in talking to you. Image was a major factor in building a successful singing.
Oh, but all women say that.
I can't make her.
Oh, no, I know of.
Music industry, I knew the drill. If they didn't want to bang.
Oh my god. You know I'm like a little famous. I hope that this does not... Actually, can you look it up if anyone... Oh my god. This is so bad. I look so ugly, right?
Music industry, I knew the drill. If they...
You know I'm like a little famous.
No, she's an insane person. She's a
I would stop talking from. I can't go to jail. I'm gonna freak out. It's so sad. My dog.
I haven't gotten his side of the
No,
story.
but his side of the story is gonna be I beat him up and I started the one. It's gonna look really bad on me.
IRL streamers have become a plague to the internet. From creators we have looked into before, such as Jack Doherty, to many others we have yet to discuss, one thing many of them have in common is their tendency to be a public nuisance at best and platforming straight-up crimes at worst. Today we will be looking at an IRL streamer who has been making headlines for the past week. This streamer is named Elisa Schwartz, otherwise known as Elisa Jordana. She and her at-the-time boyfriend, who is known as Scoro online, had gotten into a pretty nasty dispute during one of Elisa's live streams. This spiraled into something physical and ultimately led to Elisa's arrest.
Can I just say sorry and like, can I pay something?
By now, you most likely have heard of this story at some capacity, and we'll get back to the details on this specific point later on in this video. Today, we are diving into not just Elisa and I assume her ex-boyfriend, but also some very interesting situations that Elisa has found herself in over the years. This includes her time before and during her IRL live streaming career. Unfortunately for Elisa, this recent scandal isn't her only shocking situation during her time in the spotlight. Welcome to the timeline of one of the most unhinged IRL streamers I have ever come across. You better buckle up because it's about to be a wild ride. If you look a little bit deeper into Elisa, aside from the recent situation she's been in, there have been quite a few clips of her talking about how famous she is.
You know, I'm a famous person. Everybody knows about me.
Oh my god. You know I'm like a little famous. I hope that this does not... Actually, can you look it up if anyone... Oh my god.
Because I prove my value. All these people that are just like losers, like Uber drivers and just people like Todd that live with their mom, like these people aren't worth paying. They have never succeeded in anything. So of course they're not going to succeed with me.
Literally, you'll be in the dust in 5 years. I will not even know you then, and I'll be huge and you'll still be nothing. I'll be like a huge YouTuber with 1 million subs, and I guarantee that.
From what I've seen, most people haven't heard about her since this past week though. But to be fair, she does have a history in the entertainment field, just not a very well-known one from what I could tell. According to an interview by Voyage LA, Elisa's career in entertainment took off by playing in a band called Cobra Starship. You've probably heard of their one song Good Girls Go Bad if you grew up in the early 2000s or even the 2010s. Saying 2010s is weird. According to different sources, Elisa was kicked out of the band. An article written on MTV's website that was taken down but archived stated, "At some point, Cobra Starship mastermind Gabe Saporta is really gonna have to decide if having a guitar player in his band is worth it." Since this article was a bit hard to find, I'm going to go over quite a bit of it, but I will link the full article in the description below. Getting to the bottom of Starship's split with guitar player Elisa Schwartz, a less than harmonious parting of ways involving stolen iPods, spa sessions, and late-night Britney Spears-fueled dance parties, you start to wonder if perhaps Saporta would be better off having never hired a guitar player in the first place. The guitar is an integral part of Cobra Starship, and we definitely want to always have one in the band, he said. But now that all this stuff has come to light, I've definitely questioned my dedication to the guitar. Let's get everyone up to speed on just what stuff Saporta is referring to. Early Thursday morning, a statement by Saporta and a lengthy response from Schwartz began to make the rounds on the internet. In the statement, Saporta announced that Schwartz was leaving the band to, quote, focus once again on her solo career, calling her amazingly talented and thanking her for her rocking the guitar every night for the band. Of course, Schwartz saw things a little differently, writing that she didn't leave the band on her own volition, but rather she was replaced, and that during her time in Cobra Starship, she was subjected to constant verbal abuse and treated like an outsider. At one point, everyone was taking digs at me and insulting mocking me and just overall disrespecting me. I was very isolated by the band at that point, she wrote. They would all hang out together and then they saw me. They would always say little sarcastic comments or insults and then just walk away. There was nothing I could do right in their eyes. They would all go to sound check and tell me about it when they were already on stage because I couldn't handle hanging out with them because of the constant verbal abuse. And then I get screamed at for missing it when they could have texted me. I was the only person who wasn't allowed to have a friend on the bus, so me and my best friend had to drive behind in a car while all the band members' girlfriends were staying there. Schwartz also contends that she is yet to speak with her former bandmates about being replaced, that Cobra Starship continues to write songs and rehearse on equipment that she paid for, and the whole situation has left her disappointed and deeply saddened. Not surprisingly, Supporta was itching to respond to all of this, detailing in a long and incredibly detailed list of briefs he and the rest of Starship had with the former guitarist, starting with her decision to leak his statement to the net in the first place. We wrote that statement as a way of announcing that she had left the band, and we sent it to her to take a look at and change around whatever she wanted. But rather than doing that, she posted parts of it online and wrote this response that aired out all this dirty laundry. She's forced my hand. If she wants to say she was fired, then I'll have to explain just why we fired her. Supporta explained that his problems with Schwartz started almost from the minute she joined the band because she had began to act in ways people in bands aren't supposed to act. She always expected people to carry her stuff for her. She would disappear the whole day and go to spas. She would miss sound checks all the time. I'm sure she felt insecure. She never toured before and there's a certain way about it. And she refused to get acclimated to it. Plus, some of the guys in the band have a very specific sense of humor and she would get offended by it. But I personally never subjected her to any verbal abuse. I deny that wholeheartedly. Not gonna lie, there's parts of this response that don't sound the greatest to me, such as the guys had a sense of humor that she was offended by. Supporta said Schwartz started inviting strangers onto GGH's bus, which led to several awkward situations and some unsanctioned late-night dance parties. The gym class heroes were nice enough to let us share the bus, and it's their tour, it's their bus, so none of us were bringing anyone on the bus. But Elisa would bring people on the bus who were lurkers. Plus, she would turn up Britney Spears and have dance parties each night. After the behavior continued on Cobra Starship's second tour, which resulted in someone absconding with Starship's bassist Alex Cerez's iPod, the band stripped Schwartz of all inviting people on the bus privileges. Despite the guitarist's best efforts to convince the group she would change, including writing a 9-page apology letter according to Supporta, the band decided to part ways with her officially earlier this month. Supporta said that Schwartz's claims that she had never spoken to anyone in the band about her dismissal are bogus, as are her assertions that the band had stolen her equipment. If she wants her guitar back, it's totally at the Crush management's office right now. He's looking forward to getting the Starship back on the road, with a new guitarist, Victoria Asher, on board for the ride. When contacted by MTV News for a rebuttal, Schwartz declined to comment, but she did write in an email that she has not been paid by the band and they have still not returned her guitar. She also maintained that while she was on tour with Cobra Starship, she was treated like garbage and that she would really like to tell her story, but didn't want to sound too negative. It's a good thing too, because we think the good name of the guitar has already been sullied enough by this sordid split, as if Jan Hammer hadn't caused enough damage to its rep already. There is another article that has been written from the perspective of Elisa, and this one is still accessible. On a website called marieclaire.com, it shares a bit of insight from Elisa's point of view on the situation. One interesting thing to note here is that articles like this are usually written by journalists or a third party. For example, the article we just read was written by a man named James Montgomery, who was not actually in the band. However, the article we're about to get into was actually written by Elisa herself. They told me I wasn't pretty enough to be a rock star. Former Cobra Starship musician Elisa Jordana on the sexism she experienced in the music industry. This was published in 2017. This was posted several years after the back and forth that was archived on MTV's website. When I started writing songs as a kid, I thought I'd be the next Madonna, but I didn't look like Madonna. I didn't sound like Madonna, as many men in my life were fond of reminding me I was never going to be her. But then I get a chance at fame. They said, "You're not beautiful enough," my manager informed me, relaying a memo from a record label representative. It wasn't the first time I had been told I didn't have the right look to be a pop star. Feeling masochistic, I asked him to elaborate. Too old, too fat, and a weird nose, he clarified. Did they like the songs, I asked? They didn't mention the songs, but they pointed out you looked like a mom and not a hot one. After years of trying to make it as a solo artist in a male-dominated music industry, I knew the drill. drill. If they didn't want to bang you, they weren't interested in talking to you. Image was a major factor in building a successful singing career, and I felt tremendous pressure to dress and act very sexy. Growing up, I had always been extremely awkward and shy. Sometimes I'd go a week in school without saying a word. I had a super skinny body, a big nose, and a huge frizzy mop of hair with fluffy bangs. To succeed in the music industry, I'd either have to cut my head off and start with a completely new face and body, or pump up the sex appeal. So I put on a tight dress, fake eyelashes, a bright orange spray tan, and neon lipstick. Producers started asking me the following questions. Some of the speech bubbles seem to be cut off, but one says, "Can you get a nipple piercing? Why don't you sing about being a nymphomaniac?" I just wanted to succeed. Now, I know there have been several documented cases of women in Hollywood being turned away for not being pretty enough. This includes people like Jessica Alba, Winona Ryder, and even Jennifer Lawrence. It's not just exclusive to actors and actresses. This is something that goes into the music industry as well. With all of that being said, however, I am obviously not able to confirm or deny this claim made by Elisa, just based off of my opinion, regardless of how common this seems to be in Hollywood. I had finally given up and accepted that I'd be a cocktail waitress and or a shady foot fetish model when I bumped into a guy at a nightclub who said he was forming a band and asked if I'd be interested in joining. "Yes, I'll do anything," I said too quickly, not looking very cool at all. "Great." We rehearsed Monday in Jersey City. I forced myself to go to every single rehearsal, and we worked 12 hours a day learning the songs he wanted me to play. I picked up a cool instrument, the keytar, which is a combination of a keyboard and a guitar. I loved being part of something. It was as if I finally belonged somewhere. When we left New York to embark on a national tour, I couldn't have been more excited, but I let my emotions get the best of me and ended up falling in love with my band's lead singer. He made my dreams come true and actually told me I was as talented as Mozart. I know, what a great line. I think he had a girlfriend at the time, but I was so enthralled with him I hardly even noticed. Oh boy. Our relationship was a secret I was not capable of handling. I wanted to tell the world about us, but instead the whole situation just became really awkward. At times, it felt like I was in danger of being replaced. I'd cry in the bathroom of venues we played at. I knew I had made a horrible mistake. I had no power in this situation. I hoped I could feel better about myself, but everything got worse when, after playing at a venue in New York City, I learned a music executive had said I looked like a on stage. It was especially horrible because the night of that particular show, my parents were in the audience. We were touring the Midwest when a new girl started sleeping on the tour bus. She was there for a week, yet she never looked at me and we never spoke. It wasn't so uncommon for bands to pick up pretty women, so I didn't think much of it. But then a random fan at an autograph signing mentioned a rumor that this new mystery girl might be my replacement. I saw her holding my keytar backstage, figuring out how to adjust the settings. I walked up to her and said, "That's mine." Eventually, I recognized my dreams hadn't come true after all. They replaced me with someone I'd never seen before, a younger, more attractive version of myself, with perfectly straight hair and a smaller nose. More devastation came when a few months later, the band had a #1 hit single on every pop radio station across the country. I'm assuming that's the Good Girls Go Bad song. They performed at the MTV Video Music Awards that year, with my replacement front and center. I'd been dumped and fired from jobs before, but never one that gave me a constant reminder of how much I'd royally screwed up in my life. I became depressed for years and moved to California to escape the daily remembrance of how much I failed in New York. I was working at a bikini bar when my former band's song Good Girls Go Bad came on the radio. Yeah, that confirms it even further for me. I never felt like such a loser in my life. I developed a stage name for myself, no longer being Elisa Schwartz, but Elisa Jordana, hoping that this new identity would bring me some better luck. With this whole segment, I find a lack of anything mentioned in that previous MTV article to be a little concerning. I understand that she might have had some insecurities, especially regarding the criticisms she's gotten on her appearance from executives and managers and what have you, but there were clearly some other issues going on behind the scenes with her behavior that seemed to lead the band into this decision to kick her out of the band. Her behavior that has been documented all the way up to this point does make me question, especially when you take note of the previous articles' mentions about her, claims against her, as well as the way that this article was written. I'll dive deeper into this when we get to this segment with her and her most recent ex-boyfriend and the fight that they had, but there's something else about this that is extraordinarily very ironic, which is the fact that there are clips of her being very nasty to other people, ridiculing their looks, and it's not like she changed or had an epiphany realizing this was wrong and thought it was important to discuss. All of this happened after she wrote that article. In fact, some of this even happened this past week when everything hit the fan.
Don't get started on your looks, okay? I'm not gonna say anything because I want to be racist or whatever, but you know, your looks are not that great.
Huh?
I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want to be racist or whatever, but you know, your looks are not that great.
I became enamored with the comedy scene in LA. I needed laughter in my life. I was desperate for it. I started writing jokes but was too scared to perform them on stage. After dating a brilliant comedy writer while visiting New York, I ended up being inspired enough to submit material to the Howard Stern show where he worked. Eventually they hired me and I felt a little bit less horrible about myself. This article also goes into Jimmy Kimmel not being Elisa's biggest fan. As it turned out, the Howard Stern show wasn't the best place to work for someone whose self-esteem had been broken. When talk show host Jimmy Kimmel went on the air and said Elisa Jordana isn't funny or talented, I just about lost my mind. When I got the opportunity to play some original music live on the show for record industry exec Tommy Mottola, he called my voice thin and said that I should stick to comedy. Having Jimmy Kimmel say I wasn't funny and Tommy say I was a horrible singer made me realize something. I had been heartbroken. I had been through humiliations. I had famous and successful people criticize me in front of an audience of millions. Of course I should have quit trying things, at least publicly. People could put me down for my looks or my talent or lack thereof, but I wouldn't let them break my spirit. That is something they have failed at. This is something we'll get into later in this video when we discuss her response in a TMZ interview, but what she said here is strikingly similar to a caption she made under a recent Instagram post that showcases clumps of her hair, but we didn't get there yet, so just hold on to that. If I could start over in the music business, I wouldn't try to be someone I'm not. I wouldn't be wearing a tight, uncomfortable dress or sing about threesomes or have an affair with someone who doesn't love me. I would be shy, nervous, awkward, playful, and curious, because then I would be myself. And if the music industry didn't accept that, I wouldn't want to be in it. I find this statement to be quite ironic considering the way she acts towards somebody later on in this video, calling them really nasty things because her, at the time, boyfriend cheated on her with that person.
She's like 20 years old.
Losing A.
That's her Venmo that Squirrel sends money to. So all of Squirrel's private information is long phone number, address, her full name, her Venmo account transactions are all
donated $5.
Are you ever been cheated on for 2 years with a 20-year-old Mexican? I doubt it.
I'm gonna text you your nudes that he sent me and what he wrote about you. He said you're a dumb Mexican that he doesn't even like. Just so Sarah was your kid when you were 16. That's what he told me about you. And he said you're a dumb Mexican.
I said she's a
And he
dumb
said you
Mexican.
keep showing.
Let's get back to Elisa's track record here. Back in 2010, Elisa was also known as a writer for the Howard Stern show, as well as being an occasional guest on the show. During the show, she dated a man named Benji Bronk, another writer for the show, and according to an article written on the Howard Stern show's website, Benji claims that he spent over $31,000 on Elisa during their relationship. I've been reading a lot of articles, so I'm just gonna make this one really quick. Benji actually broke down in tears while talking about how much he loves Elisa, but saying he wants her out of his life. Howard asked him how much money he has given her. He agreed to support her for 1 year after their breakup, and Benji put the figure at about $31,000. Howard astutely pointed out that most guys in radio don't make half of what Benji has given his ex-girlfriend. In 99.9% of situations, I do not care about who spends money in a relationship. That's people's personal business, and I personally think that when it comes to relationships, if you're calculating how much money down to the dollar that you're spending on a person, that's a little odd, especially if you've been dating them for a long time. And again, I think that's something that should be kept between each other. Unless, of course, you're in a situation where you lend somebody money and you come to a deal or a compromise to say, hey, are you going to pay me back? That's different. But in this situation, it's clearly not that. This is a guy talking about how much money he spent on his ex-girlfriend. boyfriend. What is interesting about this situation, though, is that he allegedly supported her financially for an entire year after their breakup. Now again, finances in relationships are personal. However, I discuss this specifically because it does seem like a pattern that Elisa will steer Cupid's arrow into the direction of money, despite what the person may be like or how they treat her. As her now most recent ex-boyfriend, who she clearly had a very, very toxic relationship with, spent over $2 million in donations to her live stream throughout the period of 6 months to a year.
Donating big money to me anymore, I'll tell you guys, because his dad cut him off. He doesn't have any money. So stupid. So his dad cut him off, so he can only donate like $3 at a time, like once a week. So that's what he, honestly, that's what he deserves. And so I'm not answering your calls anymore. I'm not answering your texts. I'm not answering your calls. You're not a big donator, and you suck on the phone talking, and I hate you. Nothing. You're not a big donator anymore. You don't have any access to money, so leave me the alone. That's all you're good for. Imagine a man that's like in his 40s acting like a child, like a teenager, like disgusting, like no class. This guy has zero class. He has a money sprayer for strippers in his apartment. Think about it. In his dad's apartment, not even his. So his dad's property, he lives in it, and he sprays money at women that he has to pay because there's no way. His personality sucks so much, unbelievably so, that he could never get women without money, which is, he's not getting me anymore. Yeah, he's done. He's done.
Back to Elisa's entertainment resume. She had made other appearances in Hollywood. On IMDb, it shows that Elisa had been on The Bold and the Beautiful and Sharknado 4, which I couldn't find any footage of her being in it, and apparently she played as Sam Bronk, but the role wasn't significant enough to even be listed in the end credits of the movie. In 2017, Elisa created a show on YouTube called Kermit and Friends, where she would do interviews and live streams. And yes, she does often have Kermit the Frog appear in these live streams. This is just an odd choice to me to even name it that, let alone have these characters in it. It doesn't make sense, but okay. She has also been involved in other controversies over the years with her live streams, where she claims in her YouTube bio that the videos are staged entertainment.
Can you please delete my number from the chat?
No, she's a f***ing insane person. She's
Team deathmatch.
I would stop talking about
in the middle of the street dancing.
And to be honest, I don't even know where I'm going to throw this part in. When researching this topic of Elisa, I have found several clips of her allowing her dog and other dogs to lick the inside of her mouth.
Stop it. Get some help.
The only thing I can come up with is possibly to garner more attention from shock value, I guess, maybe, or is this just something that she does? I don't know. This is weird. So now we're leading up to more recent events, including Elisa's newest controversy and arrest. A YouTuber named Atozy made a very interesting video going into some details regarding how Elisa's now ex-boyfriend Scoro first appeared on Elisa's radar to begin with. I'll also have his video linked below. Scoro would make several generous donations to Elisa's live streams, and I mean very generous. Again, credit to Atozy for pointing this out. He would also call into her streams occasionally and would yell at her a lot and her audience, so this was already a big red flag before they had even met. Scoro quickly became a meme for Elisa's audience whenever he would call into her live streams and when he was with her in person. The chat, donators, and callers would often say things that struck a nerve with him and would cause him to react aggressively. Eventually, they did meet up in person. She visited him at his apartment on what would be considered their first date in November of 2023. And this was really something. He starts arguing with the callers, and also, despite how Elisa ended up treating him in the car, there is no excuse for the way she handled that by any means. The way he talks to her here makes him seem like a degenerate man-child. Again, that does not excuse what happens later on. This situation is separate from that.
Yeah.
All right, can I wrap it up?
$40 million, so you make $3 TTS, right? That makes a lot of sense.
I missed
And
the
they get insulted, right?
I missed the
Getting
$3.
insulted for $3. Oh, you do? Here. Here.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna go get a couple of ones for you. And show $3.
No, you better not. No, I don't want that. No, please.
Idiot. Let's talk, please.
No.
Anyone wants to call up, you shut. Let me answer them.
Okay,
and
fine.
You literally, all of you, add up your cumulative wealth and intelligence, idiots, and think to yourself. I ask this all the time. You ever been top 10 in anything in your dumb lives? Mine is 10 with 16 zeros, pleb. So you think you're not impressive? I have news for you. You're not impressive. I'm impressive.
Okay.
I'm 10 with 16 zeros.
Okay.
What are you?
Not bad.
Right.
The stream ends up going so poorly, and he gets so upset by the trolling that Scoro threatens to call the police if Elisa does not end the stream.
What's that? What is that? Oh, you want me to hang up?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta hang up. All right, bye, Wrexham. Okay, bye, everybody. Love you. So, what is that? Is that for the cops?
Yeah.
Call the cops
Yeah.
on me?
Yeah, it is.
Can you hang up?
No.
You're calling the cops
Hang up and I'll-
Okay, all right, bye, everybody. Bye. Okay.
I honestly don't think he is the greatest person by any means either. He comes off as really aggressive and insecure when responding to people and callers in her live stream, and they both just seem to despise each other. Watching them interact is pretty much insufferable. Another stream takes place on April 2nd, 2024, and this one's just over 3 hours long.
You'll be nothing. Ask me your dad for 8% of your money, and I'll be like a huge YouTuber with 1 million subs, and I guarantee that. And I'll ignore you in the chat.
In a quarter mile, use the left 2 lanes to turn left onto Wellington Train.
No. It doesn't matter what it is now, because you've never achieved anything, so you don't know how. I got a record deal. I was on the radio. You've done absolutely nothing in your life besides being born to your dad. So that's why you don't know. That's why you don't understand how things build. I'm nothing now. I've very few viewers, but my viewers are women and families and people that matter. You have no, you're a zero actually. You're actually exactly what a zero is. Exactly. You have nothing to offer the world. Zero. Nothing. You have nothing. You're not creative. You're not interesting, and you're not smart, and you don't have a good personality. So that's how I feel about you.
At the light, use the left 2 lanes to turn left onto Wellington
You're
Train.
literally nothing in the world. So no one even notices you. Even though you donated $1 million, people still don't notice you. How is that? If you were interesting, people would talk about you. You're not even interesting, even with the million. Even if you donated $5 million. No, I'm just saying, if you donated $5 million to me, people still would care about you. Yeah, no, if I had 2 viewers, I'd still be more successful than you. Because I saw you live on Twitch, and not even one of your webcam girls showed up. Not one.
So Elisa donated
Not one. I saw you go live on Twitch. Nobody clicked on it. You're a loser.
I went live on Twitch.
Nobody's interested in you.
I went live on
Yeah, you put your stupid finance shit that's fake. That's nothing. That's nothing. You spent your dad's money. That's why you spent so much of it. Yes.
Both Elisa and Scoro seem to have relentlessly clashed with each other. Viewers began to call in and leave donation messages expressing concern for Elisa. People pointed out that the relationship they had seems very toxic and potentially dangerous.
For your safety, please don't end the stream. Please. He's scaring me.
This leads into the live stream that everybody has been talking about over the past week, the one that had made headlines in mainstream media. On April 9th, 2024, Elisa had been arrested for her attack on Scoro, driving recklessly while recording a live stream of her hitting him in the car. But let's back up to the beginning of this stream, or at least from what we can, because it's been removed from her YouTube channel. It appears that Scoro had been cheating on Elisa with a 20-year-old, as the live stream starts out with Elisa visibly upset, claiming she saw messages he sent to another girl and how they were the same things he had sent to Elisa.
To me, and he lied, and he told her I'm just like a streamer, and it was just an investment, and like the whole time he was talking to me, he was talking to her, the whole time, and I saw everything that he said to her. It's all the same shit he said to me, and he's just like a bad guy. He's not like the type of guy that's like a faithful guy, and when he liked me the most. When he liked me the most, he was like cheating on me with her, with this like 20-year-old like whore that sends videos and like, you know, I knew he was that, but I didn't like I knew he was that.
I'd normally feel really bad for a person in her situation because there are a few things that hurt worse than the feeling of betrayal to this extent by the person that you love and trust. Or in her case, I guess somebody that you think you love, because ma'am, this has been toxic as hell since day one. This just doesn't feel good to watch.
Yeah.
She goes, you told me she was just some streamer. So he told this girl that he was seeing at the same time as me that I'm just some streamer. And like, he was lying like constantly to me. And she says, it really hurt Bahram. It f***ing sucked to see you hold her the way you held me. It sucked to hear her call you beautiful and babe. It sucked to see you clearly cared for her more than me. Like, she was seeing them, he was seeing us at the same time, like literally at the same time.
First of all, this is something that should have never even have been a public thing. You just found out you've been cheated on, and while you're still processing everything and crying and feeling the emotions, because this happened literally minutes before, I assume, your first thought is to turn on the camera and live stream while you're dealing with all of these emotions. Secondly, this camera is set up in her car, and this gets dangerous really fast. Unfortunately, with Elisa, you could tell that during many parts of this live stream, she is more focused on the camera than she is driving safely. In fact, you could tell in some of the parts that she's driving pretty recklessly. This is something that's extremely dangerous, and in my opinion, she's very lucky that she didn't get into an accident from this. With how upset she was, in my opinion, she shouldn't have been driving in the first place. She calls the person that he allegedly cheated on her with, which gets pretty unhinged, and eventually she ends up at the mall where she shows that she has Skoro's phone, keys, and wallet, and not only threatens to go shopping with the cash that was in his wallet, but shows his license on stream, essentially doxing him, and threatens to post his credit card numbers for others to go shopping.
Not that much money left. Should I spend this money? Sparrows for everyone? Like, should I get Sparrows for this whole place? Let's go on a shopping spree.
Eventually, Elisa does meet up with Skoro with police present, requesting her to give him his wallet, keys, and phone back. She does give them back, but she also threatens to hit him, which resulted in an officer giving her a very stern warning.
I called Sarah, you f***ing bitch. I'm gonna f***ing kill you. I'm gonna f***ing kill you. Sorry. Okay. I'm just talking to him.
Do you want to go to jail?
Not really, no.
Okay.
It's okay.
No, it's not okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. You should see what
You're lucky that your hand didn't hit him because regardless of what he said,
Okay, I'm sorry.
Get me off of that camera.
Okay, you're not on it.
No, get it. She's police. Listen.
Regardless of what had just happened here, if you had hit him right in my presence, regardless if he was quiet, be quiet and listen to me. No matter what he said, you would be going to jail. Do you understand?
All right, that's fine.
So, as you see here, she was warned by police that if she puts her hands on him, if she hits him, she would go to jail. She would be arrested. Is it shitty that he cheated on her, and was it shitty with the way he talked to her in a lot of her live streams? Absolutely. But that is not going to get you out of trouble for hitting somebody in front of a cop or hitting somebody while you're live streaming, fully documenting the evidence of it. Somehow, I have no idea why, they both think it's a good idea to leave together in Elisa's car. What I will say is that maybe it was a good thing for once that she had recorded every little thing through live stream, because now there is documented evidence of what she had done, which ultimately led to her arrest.
I wish you could give me my phone. There's no way.
Not right. Let the fire department get here first and let me talk to my
Just
partner.
give me an honest opinion on something. If I started it, but I was the least violent one.
She looked a cop dead in their face and said she was the least violent one.
But you're a police officer. You should know.
Yes, but I haven't got his side of the story.
No, but his side of the story is going to be I beat him up and I slammed the gun. It's going to look really bad on me. Do you think I'm going to jail?
So you only slapped him?
No, a few times like that.
So you slapped him a few times like that?
So you know how women do. They do it. I do it.
So I've only seen him walking past him. I saw him, right?
Yeah, but he has a lot of scratches in, but they're not from me.
Okay, well that's what I'm missing. He has one cut right here that is probably from one of your rings.
Yeah, sorry about that. Is that jail time for life?
This is just speculation on my behalf, but it's my opinion that had this not been recorded or live streamed, it's possible that Skoro could have been the one that was arrested instead of her when she was the one who very clearly assaulted him. Obviously, with YouTube's guidelines, I feel the need to censor many parts of this out, but I'm going to do the best I can to explain everything that has happened in a way that isn't too upsetting, but also provides enough detail for you to understand understand what is going on. It starts out where Elisa is back on the phone with who I assume is the other woman, with Skoro next to her in the car. While on the phone, Elisa begins hitting Skoro with what I could only explain as a closed palm strike. Again, driving erratically and yelling on the phone, Skoro interrupts Elisa's yelling to say, "I'm sorry about all of this," to the other woman on the line, but before he could finish his sentence, she pops him right across the mouth with an open hand slap. So this whole area right in your nose and in your mouth is a very, very sensitive area, especially when you are being smacked the way that she smacked him in this live stream. He even said in this clip, "She broke my nose."
Yes, sir. We're really sorry about this and sending him your way today. So don't worry. But yeah, so yeah, he's coming. Don't worry, he's coming home.
She just like almost broke my nose. She's gonna get the
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Fuck you, cunt.
Very important to mention that he gave her this warning here.
Next time you touch me, I'll fucking dip you. You understand?
Elisa continues driving recklessly and she puts her hand up like this and makes it seem like she is going to hit him again. She very obviously seems to be physically intimidating him at the very least. And then she begins to hurl insults and very nasty things to the person she's on the phone with, who I assume is the girl that he cheated on her with. And the nasty things she said include some pretty racist statements. Multiple times throughout this stream, she goes out of her way to point out how the girl he had cheated on her with is supposedly Mexican.
You ever been cheated on for 2 years with a 20-year-old Mexican? I doubt it.
Sarah, I heard you had a kid when you were 16. That's what he told me about you.
Yeah, she had
And he
a
said you're a
kid.
dumb Mexican.
I said she's
And
a
he
dumb
said you
Mexican.
keep showing a text of your nudes that he sent me and
Right.
what he wrote about you. He said you're a dumb Mexican that he doesn't even like. Just how he
What is wrong with you? Why do you feel the need to bring that up? She then puts her hands on Skoro again, and I won't be showing this clip at all because this time it turns into an all-out brawl. She starts grabbing Skoro's ear and yanking on it, and this is the moment where he turns around and grabs her hair and tells her to pull over and calls her a dumb cunt. Now, the big question online has been whether or not this situation on his end was justifiable, whether or not it was okay for him to have grabbed her hair after she had continuously hit him in the face and very physically intimidated him and threatened him. In my opinion, I see what he did as self-defense because it had gotten to a point where who knows what could have happened if he continued to allow her to do that to him. Also, he demanded that she stop the car. The car very visibly slows down. You cannot tell if the car fully stops by the time he lets go of her because right before he does, it pivots a little bit. So I don't know if the car was fully stopped and he continued to hold on to her hair while the car was stopped for a second. In that perspective, I don't know why he would do that because as soon as the car stops, he should have ran out. This situation was really, really bad just in its entirety. So once he lets go, she runs out of the car. Skoro gets out of the car and then goes back to turn the camera off. And when he does, you can get a good look at his face and you can see it's pretty bad. From what I understand at this point, Elisa was the only one out of both of them to have been arrested. Oh yeah, by the way, this guy also has MS, which is a disease where somebody's immune system can attack their brain, their nerves, and even their vision. In some cases, this can lead to blindness and paralysis. And she knows that he has this disease. Now, clearly he's able to walk, he's able to move, at least in this video, but he has mentioned being sick before. But what I find particularly concerning is the fact that when questioned by police, Elisa shares this.
I don't know where it's going yet. We're investigating right now. I need to take pictures of your injuries, okay?
But he has so many injuries from his MS. Do you know that?
I didn't say his injuries were from you. I said I need to take pictures of your injuries.
Okay. Can I see the pictures? Just so I see what it looks like. I haven't looked in a mirror. I'm so upset. He has so many bruises from his MS. It's not at all from me.
Okay.
It may be true that he does in fact have bruises on his body from MS. I'm not sure, but I do know that he probably has bruises on his body from her hitting him the way that she did when they were in the car. And it worries me to think that she could be using his MS as an excuse as to why those bruises were there. This is really just speculation though, because I don't know if what she said is true or not. But she is back to posting on social media, so I'm under the assumption that she is not currently in police custody. She has posted a photo of her hair on her Instagram page with the caption, "I've lost half my hair, but not my spirit." But the photo looks a little odd. Elisa had also provided a response to TMZ claiming that she is the victim in the situation. During the interview, Elisa claims that she brought Scoro to therapy sessions and that they were actually going to get married over Zoom. They had an application and everything, but she canceled 3 times because she didn't feel as if she was ready.
I was hoping that we could talk about like our relationship and our plan, because we filled out a marriage license, and we planned the day to do it via Zoom, and I canceled that day. We canceled it like 3 times because I didn't feel ready and I was really scared.
Jesus, I guess they both dodged a bullet there. She then states how she was looking for something irrelevant on his phone and accidentally came across the text messages and Venmos he sent to other women.
And somehow during the session, I had his phone and I was like looking for something else, and in his phone was like just a lot of bad stuff.
She then pulls out the hair that she had posted on Instagram.
I was thrown like out of my car onto the road and strangled. I thought he grabbed my neck, but I don't want to lie.
That's fine.
So maybe he grabbed my head and was like going like that.
Okay.
And then he was like, this is my hair. My hair, if you watch that video, my hair is being like, I don't know if you noticed it, but like back and forth, like I had to, this is my hair. Like,
she said, I had to, and didn't finish that sentence, instead saying, this is my hair. After a moment of hesitation, she does say, I had to cut my hair off, which, why would she keep clumps of cut hair?
I had to cut my hair off because, but the thing is,
to me, this almost comes off as she wanted to imply that this was the hair he ripped out, but it slipped out that she had to cut her hair. That's just my interpretation of this. I could be wrong. But the other reason why I believe this is because she posted this on Instagram with no additional context, making people assume that she was implying this was hair he ripped out of her head. And if she were to try and imply that he did rip this hair out of her head and this is all the hair that he ripped out, in that video, no big clumps of hair can be seen falling out of her head. It's not like it was a little tiny clump of hair either. What she was holding in this TMZ interview looked like 2 small animals in her hands.
I appreciate you guys.
sorry guys, sorry. Sorry.
Alright, I'm gonna take, you have one scratch on your chest, I'm gonna take a picture of that, okay? You have one on your forehead. Do you have any other injuries besides the mark on your chest?
I don't know. It was just, you saw what happened.
I'll look on.
And it feels
Pull your
wet.
hair up for me. I just want to see if there's
It
a.
feels wet. Can you touch that?
I don't see.
Feels like a bump. There, right there. Can you touch that?
Just pull your hair to the side so I can see your scalp, like with your hand, your other hand.
Oh.
So I can start to see your scalp.
Ow.
Okay. I don't see.
Ow, that hurts right here. Ow, please touch
That's
that.
fine. There's no blood. There's no redness or anything.
All right.
She then speculates what could have happened if they were alone, if they weren't on a public road where she could escape the car.
I could have been alone in that, and it could have ended up much worse. Like when I slapped him, I didn't want to kill him.
I called Sarah.
Obviously, I just wanted to slap. That's all I wanted to do. I just was mad. But I felt when he was like strangling me, and when he was pulling my hair and like shaking my head so violently, like a rag doll, I felt that he was trying to kill me.
Obviously, I don't know how that situation would have played out had they been in a more private location. But I think if they were alone, who's to say he wouldn't have been the one either? Who's to say they wouldn't have just straight up killed each other? Because they both seem very toxic to each other, in my opinion. She then goes on to say women need to feel safe.
Women need to feel safe.
Both parties need to feel safe in a relationship. This man literally said she broke my nose after she had slapped him right across the face with an open palm like this, with a lot of force from what it looks like in the video. And that's the thing. This entire situation was captured via live stream, so she can't deny the things she had done in this situation. Yet she acts like that she's the victim in this situation. Again, I'm not saying that he's a saint in this situation or in this entire relationship, because he seems like a scumbag in my opinion as well. well, but it's very clear that the way she was hitting him and intimidating him was extremely dangerous. And to ignore any accountability from that speaks volumes in this interview that she had with TMZ. And at the end, contradicts her earlier statement by implying she went through his phone to seek the truth, when earlier she said she stumbled upon it. So which is it?
We don't want to be that kind of person that has to go through someone's phone to find the truth. We want truth. And somehow during the session, I had his phone and I was like looking for something else, and in his phone was like just a lot of bad stuff.
While I think that live streaming this extremely toxic relationship is nothing short of an embarrassment, I guess it is a good thing that it provided video evidence in this specific situation. We have reached a point in society where there are people out there who feel the need to record and post every single little detail and every single moment of their lives on the internet, no matter how humiliating or personal those details may be. Elisa seems to have a very long history of being in this type of spotlight, though, even before the IRL live streaming days. To make it abundantly clear, I think both of them have their fair share of problems. I think a person absolutely has a right to defend themselves when they are repeatedly being attacked and hit in the face, but Skoro is definitely not a saint in this situation either. This is a couple who should have never gotten together and from day one have relentlessly butted heads, with Elisa's audience watching every moment of it. All in all, I hope that they both seek the help that they need to become better people and better to others in the future. I have no idea where this is going to go regarding her arrest, if there's going to be a court date or if she's going to have to serve time for this, if he's actually going to press charges. Who knows what the future holds with this situation, and content like this seems to be more and more popular these days, and it feels like it's a current epidemic here on the internet with IRL live streams anymore. We have a lot of people in similar situations, some of which I will talk about in the near future. It's bizarre to me. With that being said, thank you so much if you made it all the way to the end of this video. Thank you so much to everybody supporting me over on Patreon. I will see you in the next video where we dive into something a little bit darker than this.
MTC is running down. You did the work of a nation. Come on home.
You know where they are. Find them. I'll find you.
Targets.
This video is from Zenkai Goose again. We watched one of his videos before. This one is called Why Call of Duty Isn't Dead Yet. I haven't seen it yet. And obviously it's going to be talking about the history of Call of Duty and stuff, which I know a good deal about. So let's see what's good. Batman, what's up?
Oh. Sorry. 23 games, over 20 years, and the Call of Duty franchise is still going. But how is this even possible? Just what in the Sergeant Price?
It is actually a very interesting dichotomy when you look at Call of Duty as a whole, how many games have been out, and the fact that it is still even not just relevant, pretty much the biggest franchise in video games. No other game can release yearly and do that well. FIFA comes to mind, but other than that...
His mustache is their secret.
You want the gloves off? They're off.
You see, I've been playing Call of Duty every year for most of my life, which sounds insane to say, but it's true. There's been good years.
You want the numbers, Mason. That's all we
Great year.
wanted.
And there's been not so...
Is he gonna go Vanguard on this? Is he gonna go? He's gonna go Infinite Warfare.
Good years.
One of the key reasons Call of Duty has been as successful as it is we focus on
Fish AI.
fish.
Yeah, that was a rough one, wasn't it?
COD
But in
Ghosts.
a world where our attention can only be held for a few seconds because we're basically goldfish at this point, I wanted to go back to the beginning to see what exactly Call of Duty does differently.
Interesting. Where are we going back to?
Okay, went a little too far on that one, although Call of Duty Dinosaur Warfare is intriguing.
I might do a video on this on the main channel, but I don't know if you guys saw this. Activision put out a job listing for a new IP, which is interesting because I believe they said that they were working on like a survival game that got shut down. That might have been Blizzard, but this one's Activision. We don't know what it is yet, but apparently they're working on something new. Won't be Call of Duty.
Perfect. But this isn't Call of Duty. Our story begins with Medal of Honor Allied Assault from Electronic Arts. It's a classic World War II shooter, and it's a huge success for everyone all around.
I'm assuming he's gonna go into,
except for these guys,
what happened with Medal of Honor.
These guys, they're the creators, Jason West and Vince Zampella, and they're not satisfied. They want to do something more, something bigger, so they leave EA to start Infinity Ward. That logo just feels nice to look at.
Don't worry, they go back
the game
to
I'm
EA.
gonna play is completed. It's been finished.
What the fuck is this piece of?
We live in a weird time. But the team needs money pronto, so they meet with Activision, one of EA's competitors, who's like, oh, you want money to build a competitor game to our competitor's lead hit franchise? Where do I sign? Okay, so now Infinity Ward's rolling in cash, and the team starts building their first game, completely unaware that it'd change gaming forever.
Call of Duty, the first one, didn't
Quick
change
context.
video games
This
forever.
time, the World
Not
War
the first
shooter
one.
space was insanely crowded. Literally everyone and their dogs are making World War II
Very
shooters.
true.
Okay, maybe not literally, although that does sound incredibly adorable, doesn't it? So Call of Duty defies all odds and comes out the gate a mega hit. And Activision starts thinking money and buys a stake in Infinity.
Was it a mega hit? Can I find the sales for it? Video game sales. Yeah, I wouldn't call it a mega hit. Second one was. Yeah, it doesn't have anything on Call of Duty 1. It says Call of Duty 2 sold over 250,000 copies in the first week and sold around 1.4 million copies by October. I would say that is a huge success. I don't know if the first one was though.
Boom, they're in business. Call of Duty's here to stay, but now they're gonna make a sequel and the team wants to go big. Meanwhile, Microsoft's over here looking for games to launch on their unannounced Xbox console, the Xbox 360.
Yeah, this is where things blew up.
And yes, the eyebrow movement was needed. So, with the power of the 360, Infinity Ward builds the next generation of Call of Duty. Oh, and it's good. Like, really good.
I don't love the campaign, if I'm being honest.
This is actually my first Call of Duty. I still remember renting the game from Blockbuster. You guys remember Blockbuster? And
The first one I played was Call of Duty Big Red one. I actually recorded me playing the game, the campaign. I recorded the screen with a camera, like set it up on my table, recorded it, uploaded it. Like 6 years later, not even 6 years, like 3 years later, the video got like 100,000 views on YouTube, and I didn't understand why. And that's because people started uploading Call of Duty videos to YouTube. I wish it was still on my channel. I deleted it a long time ago, but still.
Having my little mind absolutely blown at that new smoke tech. I mean, just look at that. No one had ever done that before. Yeah, sure, the gameplay was great, the multiplayer was magnificent, the achievements were awesome. Alliteration aside, that smoke tech was nice. You see, Jason, Vince, and the rest of Infinity Ward were absolutely killing it. And Activision was like, hello, I like money. So they buy
still
out
haven't even got to the big part yet.
completely and demand more Call of Duty, which of course they do. But look, making games is hard, and making money on them is even harder. So let's do the math. It would take roughly 2 years of funding to release one game for a chance at success. Best case scenario.
I'm asking you,
to be okay not spending money that I don't have.
So Activision decides to build Treyarch, a second company, so that they could release a Call of Duty every single year.
So that started that long ago. Like Call of Duty 2 came out, Infinity Ward. Call of Duty 3 came out, Treyarch. Call of Duty 4 came out, Infinity Ward. World at War came out, Treyarch. So this was like in the plan for a long time.
No one had ever done something like this before. I mean, you had sports games, but like the game's not changing that much, right? Yeah. It's the same game every single year. It's a different roster. It's a completely different thing. Because a new Call of Duty needs a big campaign. It needs cutting edge graphics, amazing multiplayer, and much more. Now look, I may be a Canadian goose man with 0 credentials, but I gotta tell you,
he's a fellow Canadian.
It felt impossible at the time. Like there was no way it could ever happen. Oh, well, of course they did it. I never doubted them.
But Call of Duty 3 sucked.
Call of Duty 3 did sort of feel like a copy-paste of last year's game with a few last-minute changes. But
that made it worse.
Was exactly the opposite of what Infinity Ward stood for. And,
It became personal with me.
50,000 people.
Hey, here we go.
Now it's a ghost town.
Infinity Ward comes out the gate swinging with the wildest curveball, and people around the world are frickin' losing their minds.
Nice.
Dude, it's...
I think one thing that you have to remember with Modern Warfare, like the first Modern Warfare, games really weren't doing that at the time. Like it's way more common now. Like you got like Rainbow Six, SOCOM, like you had some at the time, but none were like that arcade shooter like Call of Duty.
It's incredible. COD 4 literally changes first-person shooter
and
games
it felt so
forever.
good.
Like, and that's not even an exaggeration. The control scheme, smooth 60 frames per second gameplay, loadouts, perks, challenges, the campaign, the Mile High Club mission. And yeah, I may have wasted days, if not weeks, of my life trying to beat that level on the highest difficulty for that achievement, and you might be thinking, well, surely you can't be serious.
I'm serious. And don't call me Shirley.
But more importantly, check this out. Modern Warfare was the first game to dethrone Halo 3 as the most played game on Xbox Live, and completely revolutionized the idea of a 4 to 6 hour campaign with 0 fluff. It was like the YouTube version of video games. The modern military take was an amazing surprise for literally everyone, except Treyarch, who might have been out of the loop on this one.
I am very curious if his tone switches, because now Treyarch is the darling baby of Call of Duty and everyone loves their games and everyone does not like Infinity Ward. So that switches at some point, but in his timeline, what he's talking about, it hasn't happened yet.
While World at War, that is very hard to say. One more time. While World at War reviews well, Treyarch's new game feels incredibly odd releasing after Modern Warfare. Tensions were rising. True. And as far as Infinity Ward was concerned, they were Call of Duty. And, you know, technically they had the receipts to prove it at this time.
Yeah.
But the team, and we're going to put on the dramatic voice for this,
was just getting started.
Yeah, this was the game. This was it.
Infinity Ward was on a frickin' roll. Everything they made turned to gold. Activision CEO Bobby Kotick could barely contain himself.
What else can I help you with?
Because of the money. Exactly. Bigger, better, and a direct sequel to Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, Infinity Ward doubles down on everything that made COD 4 special. You see, Jason and Vince made the rules. Call of Duty was their franchise. They could do what they want, however they want, the way they wanted, with whomever they wanted to. The two started having talks with their old pals at EA, and, yeah, Bobby didn't like that.
Not one bit.
Great use of names.
This is where things take a dramatic turn.
So I don't know if he's going to go into this, but during Modern Warfare 2, everyone was loving that game, but there was broken things in it. There was like one-man army, noob tube, there was random knifing, under the map glitches, things like that. And behind the scenes, there was a big lawsuit going on with Infinity Ward. And I hope he goes into that, but if he doesn't, I'll address it.
That was me doing a dramatic Doesn't matter. Cut to the clip.
The two founders of Infinity Ward and the makers of the blockbuster Modern Warfare series were fired earlier this week by their parent company, Activision. It now appears that former employees Jason West and Vince Zampella are suing Activision for breaching their contracts and neglecting to pay them certain royalties that they were promised. And in case you forgot, the Modern Warfare franchise has raked in over $1 billion worldwide.
$1 billion at that time for a video game was insane.
We are talking some serious money here.
With Jason and Vince gone, a good chunk of the team also leaves to follow them. Now, while that's incredibly wholesome and...
By the way, they're back at EA. They run Respawn Studios. They made Apex Legends, stuff like that. I believe they worked on the Star Wars games too. I could be wrong with that.
Glad to have homies like that. It put a pretty big dent into Activision's main objective. We know. It's very clear that's your objective. I mean, how else is Activision CEO Bobby Kotick supposed to get a role in 2011's hit movie Moneyball?
You'll find new guys.
I actually love that movie, and I'm not afraid to say I've seen it multiple times and will continue to do so. When Chris Pratt hits that ball, okay, hold on. Focus. Back to the story. So, Modern Warfare had peaked fan expectations again.
But at this point, CEOs are gone.
Call of Duty was now technically on fire behind the scenes.
I am never gonna financially recover from this.
Nobody had faith in Treyarch's games, and yeah.
Part of me will always wonder what would have happened if they didn't get fired. No one knows the exact reason why. Like he kind of alluded to, it sounds like they were talking to EA behind the scenes. EA was probably offering them a bunch of money. Bobby Kotick gets mad about that, fires them. They owe them money because the way the video games work, you get royalties off of the video games that you create to a certain extent, at the very minimum bonuses. Lawsuit for that. A bunch of the team leaves. They don't like how Activision is treating them. They go to EA. I always wonder what would have happened with the game if that never happened.
It looked like Call of Duty was about to die.
No, it didn't.
This is it. Go, go, go!
Oh, Black Ops, that's what they're going with this.
Oh. Hold on.
What do you want from me? You want the numbers, Mason. That's all we've ever wanted.
Black Ops Releases has a fantastic campaign.
The best campaign, actually.
This isn't a game.
And an iconic zombies mode. And Treyarch figures out everything's gonna be all right so long as they just believe in their own style. Who knew the story of Call of Duty was so wholesome? But it gets better because this is where things start to speed up. Editor, lay in some Christopher Nolan-esque music with clocks ticking in the background to build the tension. Okay, so Modern Warfare 3 is a year away, and
whoever edits his videos
is starting to get a little stressed. You know, because
money!
Yeah, exactly. Is that all these guys think about?
Yes.
Relax.
Yes,
Anyways,
it is.
So